good morning in Europe, good evening in Asia. Excellency, Prime Minister Imran Khan, welcome, and also to His Excellency Finance Minister Sheikh, a special welcome to both of you. It is great to see you, Prime Minister, but also all the guests that have called in, global CEOs, CEOs from the region, everyone having a keen interest in the path forward for Pakistan. I would also like to use this special occasion for the World Economic Forum to acknowledge our two long-standing partners in Pakistan, the Dawood Hercules and also the Pathfinder Group that many of you know as very important companies in Pakistan. It is a great honor to see you again, Prime Minister. We now have 45 minutes with the Prime Minister and then 30 minutes with His Excellency the Finance Minister. And there is also a possibility to raise questions to the Prime Minister, and CEOs have already signed up. It seems like almost a decade, Prime Minister, since we met in Davos. It's less than a year, but so much has happened. And Davos speech from your side was also historic. It was the first time in the 51 years history of the World Economic Forum we had a special address from the Prime Minister of Pakistan. And we know from your very special address in Davos that a lot were going in the right direction for Pakistan. Growth was back, FDIs were growing. I think there was a growth the year before the pandemic of 70%. So after the pandemic, we have seen that you have also taken necessary steps to make sure that you deal with the health crisis everywhere, that you're building a bridge also towards sustainable recovery, and then also securing investments. First, Prime Minister, I think we all would like just shortly to hear from you the latest. How are you now dealing with the health crisis? It seems like Pakistan so far has weathered it better than some other countries, but it is also still, I guess, a great challenge, and we're not out of the woods yet. So welcome again, Prime Minister. So good to see you, and please update us on the current situation in your country.
Thank you very much, Boge. It's a pleasure to be talking again on the World Economic Forum, and as I've always felt, this is a great forum from where we can project our views about our economy and talk to the investors. So let me just say, first of all, that Pakistan had stabilized its economy and was heading in the right direction when COVID hit us. And just like every country got badly hit by COVID because this was something unprecedented. And it was unprecedented because of the lockdown. There's no precedence of an economy being locked down, completely shut, and the consequences of that shutdown. That's really what the world is coping with. So for us, it was not just a question of curtailing the virus, but it was also stopping our people dying from hunger. And we very quickly realized that when you lock down an economy, you have to take care of those people who are daily wagers, whose family depend on their earnings on a daily basis or a weekly basis. And if you lock the economy down, not only these people get affected, but secondly, those people, who are in the informal sector, like the labor in Pakistan's labor, 80% is in the informal sector, so we have no record of them. So unlike the US, where you could send money to their bank accounts, we couldn't do that. So we quickly realized that we could not impose a lockdown like the one imposed in Europe or in China, we realized that we had to go for a smart lockdown. In other words, have spot the hotspots and lock them down, but do not really have a strict lockdown, because you can't lock down hungry people. So that worked. We opened up our economy quicker than others. We never locked down the agriculture sector, which was basically rural. We opened up the construction sector, which was in the cities. And because it was mainly outdoor, there was no spread because opening up the construction sector. And then we had a cash program where we gave about 15 million families were given cash handouts. And it was one of the best programs. And that really saved us from the worst effects of the lockdown. And actually, because the people were with us, the public complied with our measures, we came out of it better than any other country. So we saved our economy from its worst effects. Also, we saved people dying from the virus. Now, of course, we are hitting a second peak. And my worry right now is that, number one, because we succeeded so well, people are no longer that worried about the virus anymore. And so we do not find that sort of level of compliance. And secondly, we do not know how long this second wave, because it's in the winter, we don't know what this winter wave is going to be like. So, there's a bit of worry right now, because our cases are climbing up quite rapidly these days.
Well, thank you, Mr. Prime Minister, for that overview. We will have a second round with your finance minister after the questions and dialogue with you. But I think many of the CEOs and chairs that are on the line really would like also to hear from you. Based on the increasing FDIs, based on the growth that you had before the pandemic, when do you think we'll be back to a pre-COVID level, and how do you see the path forward for Pakistan? When do you think you will get growth at the level where you expect it and need it, and what are the measures that you will take?
I must say that the lessons we learned from the first wave of COVID was that we, in our country, with our high levels of poverty and with a young population, high levels of unemployment, we cannot afford a lockdown where we lock down our businesses, where we lock down the factories. So we have taken a policy decision that we are going to keep the businesses and the factories which employ people. We are not going to lock them down. We are going to only lock down the non-essential, in other words, public gatherings and so on, where our economy doesn't get hurt, because we feel that the consequences of hurting our economy on the people is going to be far greater than the effects of the virus. Now, the two challenges we faced, the two biggest challenges, one was the fiscal deficit. When we came to power, it was the biggest ever fiscal deficit in our history. And second was the current account deficit, the external deficit. And that also was a record deficit. So the first year and a half really was stabilizing the economy to bring these deficits down. So cutting our expenditure, improving governance, and then improving the tax collection to remedy the fiscal imbalancing. And secondly was cutting down on our imports and trying to stimulate our exports, stimulate remittances into Pakistan, because that forms a considerable part of our foreign exchange earning. Foreign direct investment, which was improving and fortunately is improving again. And then also clamp down on money laundering. Now, this is a big problem in the developing world, where illegal, illicit flows of money leave our country.